Shalom family. So apparently, Keir Starmer, and sorry, I refuse to call him Sir right now, demanded of Netanyahu a bunch of things, otherwise he would recognize a Palestinian state. So again, with a threat. And we know how well threats work. I mean, Trump threatening Russia, Russia threatens war. Threats don't generally lead to free conversation and understanding. Keir Starmer issued an ultimatum to Israel's Netanyahu, warning that he will recognize a Palestinian state in September unless a series of conditions are met. So is he under the impression that Netanyahu or Israel is his child and he can make ultimatums and give a series of conditions that need to be met? Maybe they need to eat all their food before they get up off the table. The Prime Minister's decision comes after mounting pressure from his backbench MPs and cabinet ministers to recognize Palestine as a state. We're going to recognize Wakanda later next year in Africa too. The Montevideo Convention of 1933 established several criteria which must apply for an entity to be recognized as a sovereign state. These are a permanent population, a defined territory, and an effective government, and the ability to conduct international relations. The UK recognizing a Palestinian state has special significance because they say it was Britain that created the modern state of Israel with the Balfour Declaration in 1926, signed by then Foreign Secretary Sir Arthur Balfour. Britain also brings the extra influence as the former colonial power and current member of the UN Security Council. Now, Britain did not create Israel. God did. It's in the Bible. It's all prophesied. He made it happen, not Keir Starmer's Britain. There was documentation and things happened. It's all prophesied in the Bible too, as the leaders all came together and drew the lines ordained by God. Hey, humanity. Already 144 of the 193 UN member states, including Spain, Norway, Ireland, India, Russia, and China, have recognized it as a state. Critics argue that the recognition has not helped resolve the problems on the ground to bring peace. Duh. They also know Palestine does not fulfill the criteria for a state with a permanent population, a defined territory, a stable government, and the ability to enter into the relations with other states. None of those are ticked, but they still want to call it a state. Keir has set a series of conditions for the Israeli Prime Minister, warning that if they are not met, Britain will recognize Palestine alongside France at the UN General Assembly meeting in September. Who cares? Because the Bible tells me all nations will be gathered together and God will enter into judgment with them. For dividing his land is one of the things, and how they've dealt with Israel and the Jews and so on and so forth. So all of them are going to be complicit. So go ahead and recognize if you want to recognize. You deal with the repercussions later. The first thing that he laid before Netanyahu is the Israeli government must take substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, which is seeing thousands of Palestinians starving as aid is unable to get into the Strip. Now again, Israel's letting the aid into the Strip. The UN is not distributing it from there because they're having a hissy fit and a tantrum. Hamas is stealing the aid and then selling it back and causing the starvation and chaos, but no one's demanding anything from Hamas. It's easier to blame Israel. The second is Netanyahu to promise no annexation in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, which they've already agreed in the Knesset they want to take now, finally. And the third is a commitment to a long-term peace process that will deliver a two-state solution between Israel and Palestine, to which the entire nation of Israel is pretty much against. The Prime Minister also said the UK and its allies need to see at least 500 trucks entering Gaza every day to deliver aid. So Keir called for Hamas to release remaining hostages, agree to a ceasefire, disarm themselves, and hand over any option of being in a government in Gaza. There are concerns, though, that he has not linked Palestinian state recognition to his demands of Hamas, because they're not Jews. He'd rather make demands of Israel and the Jews and link that to a two-state solution, but Hamas gets away scot-free every time. No one's screaming at them, no one's throwing tantrums. Why? Because this is clearly the devil and darkness moving against Israel, swinging public opinion, moving to always put them in the bad spot. It is an evil operation, and all these leaders are complicit, and God himself will enter into judgment with them very soon. Pray for Israel. Shalom.